Hello everyone else. Today I'm going to talk about Japan has a population or the birth rate crisis. The topic is very important here, which I'm going to talk about. I was just doing a research about it for a long time and I realized that even speaking with my friends on the tandem or just watching the news on the internet, I have just realized that there are a bunch of distinguishable things here. The first example is just most of the immigrants are coming to Japan and they're make the messy to Japan culture, so it's understandable. There is nothing to do for it. But most of the people think about what is the true and what is the wrong. Even the Japanese people want to just defend their core and they don't want to get more immigrants from the other countries and further abroad. So it's understandable because they have mass immigration crisis in Japan as well. But here the question arises again, even in the Turkey, I'm living in Turkey, which is a third class country. Mostly there were a bunch of the Syrian immigrants here and they were doing the blue collar jobs and they are doing the jobs which the Turkish people don't want to do, like the toilet cleaning and just like the construction, etc. So here is even in Japan the situation is same. Mostly they are just complaining about the immigrants and they are coming to Japan and they are making the Japan bad, not better. They are making the Japan bad. So it's understandable, but there will be some need people. There will be some people just who gonna work in the construction or the blue collar jobs. Even the robots aren't enough for it. I don't care about the Japan as well, like if they want immigrants or not. But there is a huge crisis here. The crisis Japan is a population crisis, and most of the people are complaining about the same stuff. So I'm not sure even the Japanese people don't see it as a crisis, not a problem. They say it's a normal, and there is not a situation. Even the situation or the population is declaring it's okay for them, and they are not wants to get more immigrants, and they don't want to get hire more the foreign workers to their countries. It's understandable. Even they want to work, most of the foreign workers want to work in Japan. They are mostly just hiring the people for the temporary jobs like the stagiaire or something else different, like the even not a full-time position. Maybe they are working a part-time or seasonal work. And then the Japan government is expecting to foreigners coming back their origin countries. So it is understandable, but it is really tough. But we are going to delve into the topic, which is the Japan has a population crisis. Let's delve into it. So Japan is currently facing off the most dramatic and the demographic transformation in modern history. For decades, Japan has been known as a country of technological innovation, economic development, and social stability. However, behind this image lies a silent structural crisis. Japan's population is shrinking, and it is shrinking rapidly. According to the Statistic Bureau of Japan, the country's population peaked in 2008, like the 2008, at approximately 128.1 million people. Since then, Japan has entered a period of continuous population decline. By 2023, the population had fallen to roughly 124.3 million. Okay, it's 0.3 million. It's so good. It's so different. Demographic projections from the National Institute of Population and Social Security Research, GPSS, suggest that Japan's population could fall below 100 million by 2050 and potentially reach 87 million by 2070. Okay, but the problem is not only population decline. Japan is also becoming the oldest society in the world. The combination of low birth rates and long life expectancy and declining workforce creates serious challenges for the future of the Japan's economic and society. Okay, what's the meaning of that? The mostly they are hiring the foreign workers, and people don't want to do a bit of hardly extreme jobs. And meanwhile, Japan's population is aging, and robots aren't going to cover the situation. So it is understandable because Japan is an isolated country from the historical view. Even they were just like experiencing the Sakoku period, which is the Sakoku Jidai. They were so close to other nations, and mostly they are just calling the immigrants. They are not. It is better not the immigrants come to Japan. It's understandable, but mostly the immigrants they are being threat. They are perceived as a threat in the Japan for the immigrants. But here the issue is even the Japanese people is coming from the China even in Yayoi period, and it's really complicated situation here. So Japan's population decline, which I'm going to highlight it, the decline of Japan's population can be clearly observed through demographic statistics. Okay, 2008, 128, that's 1 million, and 2015, 127, that's 1 million, and 2020 it is 126, that's 1 million, and 2023 124, that 3 million, and the projection, like the perception, it is maybe some like a guess, 2050 can be 97 million. Okay, the population is declaring and it is melting, so nobody is going to defend it, because if the population is degrading, you don't have anything to protect your country. And when you are going to Europe, you can understand that most of the people are very very elderly population, because they are not giving a birth, because mostly they are just wants to take a cat and just take getting a pet. It is so better for them, maybe the cat, dogs, and etc. This kind of animals is being so useful for them. But if you are just feeding to this kind of things, there won't be any problem. If you just make a baby, it's going to be a problem, and you need to just cover up the baby's expenses. For example, you just take him to the school. You need to take him to the other etc. as well. That's the reason why I'm just complaining a lot. The cost of baby is so high, and nobody can go into cover up the expenses. And if you are just making a baby, it's understandable, but you need to offer him a better life. If you don't offer him a better life, mostly he going to just complain about the station. Maybe he cannot go to the private schools. Maybe he cannot be a doctor. That's the reason why the competition is really fierce. And that's the reason why most people are just scaring of making a baby. If you make a baby, probably you need to get the responsibility. In this modern age, in this modern world, nobody wants to take responsibility. Even they are doing the sex with their partners, and they are saying that doing a sex is not giving you a guarantee you can be a girlfriend or boyfriend. So the situation is the Gen Z is changing a lot, and nobody is going to understand these issues a lot. Okay, another thing just mentioned, like Japan has now entered a phase known as natural population decline. This means that the number of deaths exceeds the number of the births each year. Okay, the number of deaths are so high rather than just the number of births. So if the population cannot renew itself, mostly it's going to be complicated and it's gonna be tough for it, and then the population can be declined. So if you wanna just renew the population, you need to just make it a 2. If the birth rate is under the 2 rather than just the death rates is being high, the population is going to be going to be how can I say, like going to be that, and nobody will going to just set up the station again. That's the reason why I'm just complaining about a lot and trying to understand this kind of effects here. So the immigration is also the part of my life. I have always wanted to go to Japan, just getting married with a girl from there, but I'm living in a third class country, which is Turkey. Just competing with the other nations is so hard. So hard. Like, even if you want to just compete with the other nations, for example, what kind of jobs you can just pursue there. Even you want to just getting into the Japanese society, there are a bunch of exams. If you want to be officer there, if you want to just do the jobs like the local and the legal jobs, it's tough because mostly they are hiring to dent. Even you cannot be a doctor in Japan if you are a foreigner. You need to just study primary school, middle school, high school. There are a bunch of differences, and nobody can live there without anything, and just expenditures are so high. Most of the immigrants are just pursuing the career in their social media. If you are going to Japan, it is better to open an Instagram account or a YouTube channel, and you can just grow your channel and you can just continue to live there. That's the reason why Japan is just only selling their culture, which doesn't exist. Mostly their culture is coming from the China, and that's the reason why Japanese society wants to just sell the trees, the ambience. It is not a real ambience. Like it's the fake ambience. It's the fake reality. They are changing their realities. Japan is very unique perspective. But mostly Japanese population not doing the sex, but mostly people in Japan pursuing the EB Sangyo, like the industry, the Japanese porn industry. Even they are complaining about the situation a lot, they are continue to proceed. That's so distinguishable differences here and not going to talk about, but it is so high. So most of the people are just complaining about these things. In other words, Japan is losing population even without considering migration. The structural demographic process that tends to accelerate over time once it begins. So, but as I mentioned that before, even Japanese population is declining. Japanese people don't see it as a problem. It's not they think like it's okay. Maybe Japanese population is declining, but we don't care. So we can still continue to live. In Japan, mostly people are really egoist and they are really self-esteem and maybe they are just only think about themselves. It is so hard to think about the others. Even the people in other countries are same, but in Japan, Japanese people are mostly prior than the other nations. If you are living in Japan, you will need to understand if you are a foreigner in Japan, you are mostly being a second-class citizen. The Japanese citizens will be the first, always. And it is really hard to change this minds. And Japanese people don't want to see the immigrants where they are working as a doctor and others because they are nationalists. If you are a nationalist nation, for example, in Turkey, in the Japan, if you are not Turkish in Turkey, if you are not a Japan in Japan, it is really hard to just doing a job as a doctor, etc. Mostly people don't want to give their lives to foreigners, and mostly they are living for their nations. But as I mentioned that before, nationalism is a really sucks idea because we didn't choose our nation before coming this role. That's the reason why this nationalism is not really understandable. It's not very logical idea here. And because the governments or the statements burn, leave, like being growth and death. It is the same circle for every statement. The statements can get birth and statements can get die with their population. That's the reason why being nationalism is really just defending the nation or defending the statement. It's not very understandable for me because everybody will die one day. I'm not just defending that not going to army, not going to be police. No, we're gonna protect you, etc. I'm just understanding. Yes, we need to give the meaning to statement. We need to give the meaning to soldiers. We need to give the meaning to policies. But we shouldn't just missing the value here. It's not everything, okay? Because every government will going to be pass away from this world one day. That's the reason why we need to just understand this issue. We shouldn't continue to believe on it. Nationalism is very powerful idea, and we will live long. It's not true, brother. It's not true. Nothing is true for it. Like, as I mentioned that before. Like Japan as the world's oldest society. Japan has the highest population of elderly citizens in the world. Okay? Japan, like for example, population 65 plus, approximately 29%. Italy 24%. Germany 22%. USA 17%. Okay, population. The Japan elderly population is really high amongst the first class development countries. The source is World Bank demographic data. Okay, the table life expectancy. Okay, Japan life expectancy 84 years. Germany, like the 81 years. USA 77 years. Mostly they are just consuming the fast food, etc. Why? Because it's not a very healthy nation, and in that Japan, the life expectancy is so high because mostly they are doing the sports and they have the individual culture. The Japan mostly just think that, according to my opinion, Japan is not a very like the collective culture. Japan is an individual culture, according to my opinion. Mostly we are thinking that all the Asian countries are just a collective culture. They are living for the nation. No, it's not true. Japan is an individual culture. I'm just a little against with the ideas all the Asian countries living for the collective culture. Not true, brother. If you are going to Japan, you will understand it is a very individual and self-esteem culture. You will get it if you go there, and you don't have to be worried about that. It's so understandable. So the all the society is here. If you what you wanna do with all the society, even Czech Republic, I have just seen data, and most of the Czech Republic people just going to university, even the elderly people. But we cannot maintain this in the Japan or etc. But it's understandable. Most of the people after the 40s, after the 50s, they don't have any things to do. They don't can run. They don't can go to the other places quickly because they need to get take care from a caregiver. Why? Most of the Japan needs caregivers from the other just the third class or the second class nations, because the third class and the second class nations like life expectancy is so low. That's the reason why the young population is so high. Most of the third or second class people from Turkey, Iraq, Iran, they are so happy. Our population is so young. Why? Because most of the people cannot live long here. They are being so happy with that, and they are saying that they are just boasting. They are just boasting themselves. They are just praying themselves. They are appreciating themselves, and they are saying that we have the youngest population in the third class or the second class nations. Have you ever thought why? Because life expectancy is so low here. People cannot eat the healthy foods. People cannot eat the healthy nutritions. People cannot do the sports as well. People cannot go to the people cannot breathe the healthy pollution. Okay, the weather is here so dirty. Most of the people not going to complain and not going to understand this issue. Even when you go into Japan, you will understand the weather is so clear, but here the weather is so dirty because most of the fabrics and are doing that. And living here and just even just getting into the oxygen is not very healthy. Even the oxygen here is not healthy because we are living in a third class country, and our life expectancy is so low, and nobody is going to complain about the station. Most of the people are not very smart here. Most of the people going to understand it. They are just boasting themselves. They are appreciating that we have the youngest population. Have you ever thought why? It's the same as I mentioned that. Okay, let's go into another delve into it. So the fertility collapse. Japan's fertility rate has been below the replacement level of the decades. A stable population requires approximately 2.1 children per woman. Okay, as I mentioned that if your population don't require the approximately 2.1 children per woman, most of your population cannot renew itself, and it's gonna be tough situation for the societies, for the government, for the statements. You need to just highlight it. Japan's fertility rate has fallen far below this level. The Japan fertility rate like 1.26, Germany 1.46, USA 1.64, France 1.79. The table births vs deaths like the 2021 as a year, 811,000 births and 1,439,000 deaths. It's different. Like in 2022, 770,000 births, and the deaths like 1,569,000 deaths. It is so different, brother. Like you need to understand the demographic gap between births and deaths continues to widen. Okay, this there is some like the space here. The space is getting so wide. That's the reason why mostly cannot control the situation, because the situation is out of control anymore, and mostly immigrants cannot surpass the language barrier. I can speak the Japanese. 私は日本語で簡単に話せるだけど、日本に行った時はどんな仕事ができるのかなと思っていたんだけど、返信を見つけなかった。Even the station, if you know the perfect Japanese, it doesn't mean that you can go to Japan. That's the reason why most people just spend their time just learning the Japanese, but it doesn't mean anything. Okay, for example, if anybody speaks Turkish here and they are coming here, what the jobs they can do here? Nothing, because the job is very important. Just learning the Japanese culture, watching the anime. It's really fake. It's not real. For example, you can just continue to watch anime, just continue to watching Japanese dramas, and mostly it is fake, and it is just reflecting the fake reality. It's not reflecting to Japan. Even the Haruki Murakami. If you are reading the Haruki Murakami books, and most of the people just complaining about the situation, Haruki Murakami doesn't reflect their own Japanese culture. They are so right. Mostly there's a patriarchal culture there, and mostly the man more dominant than the woman. And here, the situation, there's a societal pressure in Japan, and mostly they don't want to just out of the societal core, and they want to keep it alive. So nobody is going to think about the situation, and nobody is judging the situation as well. So it is really understandable. Nothing is different here. But the situation is the population is declining as well. The marriage decline. Another major factor behind falling birth rates is decline of marriage. The marriage cost is so high. Even if you are thinking about Japanese women, they really want to get married with someone else. Like, if they want to get married, it's so understandable. They want to just make the marriage. If you're gonna get married with someone else in the Japan, the girl is going to just say, I want to marriage ceremony. Even in all the women want a marriage ceremony. So they think that there is something special for them. So you are just buying the jewelry, and you are buying for the marriage customs. It is to understand the marriage clothes, etc. But it's so expensive. It is very easy. It's not cheap. So in Japan, the vast majority of children are born within marriage. But however, marriage rates have been declining steadily. Yeah, if you are just comparing the situation past to nowadays, in the past, people making babies while they are getting in a marriage. But here in nowadays, people not able to make the babies in the marriage. Why? Let me explain you why. Because the marriage cost is so high. Even living in another house, just paying the rent is so high. Nobody can complain about. Nobody can just cover the expenses. That's the reason why most people defining the cohabitation. What's the cohabitation? People living with their houses, with their family houses, but still they are continuing to be just married. So, do you like this position? Do you like this kind of marriage? According to my opinion, it's not very defendable, but the situation is changing. The systems are changing, so we need to adapt the situation rather than just complaining about the situation, because the expenses so high, cost of living is so high. Can you cover the expenses? Not. That's the reason why most of the people define the cohabitation. Okay, let's check data. The table, the never married population, age 30, 34. 1,000. Okay, let's make it like the 1,990. Man is like the 32 percentage. Woman like the 17 percentage. Okay, like in the 2015, man is like the 47 percentage, is like woman 34 percentage. Oh, like the 2020 50 percentage, woman 38 percentage. Okay, even it's double. Never married population between the age 30 and 34, approximately, if you are trying to understand, is the 50 percentage. What does it mean? Even you are just getting the 30 years, if you just, maybe you cannot pass the 30 years, it is really hard to get married. That's the reason why even when you became the 30, you cannot get married. It is normal. You cannot just complain about the system. You cannot complain about the situation. It's so normal. Because nobody can do that. The trend reflects the broader social change. Young people are delaying the marriage due to economic uncertainty, career priorities, and lifestyle preferences. In Japan, career is so important. If you are thinking about is family important, is career important? Career is more important than family in Japan. Mostly people thinking about their careers, and they want to just get more dominance in their careers and rather than the family. But in Turkey, family is more important than the career. So in the countries, it's so changeable. In some countries, like the individual countries, career is more important than the family. But in the collective cultures, like in Turkey, it's not the collective culture, but the kinship culture here. is so important. In the kinship cultures or the collective cultures, the family is more important than the job. So the situation is changing. But in nowadays, girls or the women are trying to enter and trying to participate in the work life. That's the reason why the system is changing. And the woman and the man, there is like the man crisis. Men are dying. Why? Or the middle class is dying. It's so same. Mostly the man cannot find a decent job, but the woman can just take the man's jobs. And there is the reason. In the past times, only the fabrics and this like the industrial engineering, just the other just like something like the industries are only hiring the man. But here, especially, even the women were get hired. I'm not going to deny it, but mostly were men getting hired in a job, and the woman role was just taking care of baby, making some like a meal for their men. But in nowadays, the system has changed. Why? The girls can open an OnlyFans, girls can open an own Instagram accounts, and they can create their own businesses. Not all the women just opening the OnlyFans. I'm not saying that. But most of the we are going not on some population. It is really like it's like the very dominant population. And other times there are mostly some people on the Instagram selling their, for example, their icons, their handmade scarf, handmade like the handmade toys, etc., and maybe handmade handmade like a just a construct and like handmade stuffs, etc., handmade goods. Okay, so here the girls can also make a business and they can continue to make a business. That's the reason why there will be new rival is change this all the system. New rival is came up. So that's the reason why it's a really hard situation for the man. In the past, just finding a job were easier because population weren't so high. So if you are asking my opinion, is it good to declaring of the population? Yes. Why? In the past, even the Mongolian wars, just the World War II, World War I, and the wars behind of these sources were necessary. Why? Because they were keeping the society in a balance. In nowadays, people not able to fight quickly and just fighting with the another nation is why. Because, for example, think about the Turkey. Turkey is in a NATO and other collaborations. If you are in a collaboration, if you are the other things, you need to protect this culture, you need to protect the society. So here the situation is so complicated. Why? Here the problem is if you want to fight another country, the other countries can fight you as well. In the past it wasn't like that, because if you are just fighting with a country near to you, another country cannot just showing their skyrockets and showing their just helicopter and the jet planes. Okay, the just like just a far just a time being replaceable anymore. There is no time differences, there is no location differences. You can be away from the location, you can be away from time, you can be go in a Tokyo in a one day with a plane. That's the reason why locations are changed anymore. That's the reason why just being to another location, even the 10,000 kilometers away or the 5,000 kilometers away, for example, if you are thinking about Japan, maybe 6,000 kilometers away from Turkey, I'm not sure, you can be there in a one day. That's the reason why location and time being important and location and time being unimportant anymore. So we need to understand even but in the past, location and time they were just so important. Because if you are just fighting a nation, another nation cannot just help that other nation. Like to think about the 1453, like the conquer Fatih just conquered the Byzance, just conquered Istanbul, and then even the Byzance armies and the Byzance soldiers couldn't get any help. Why? Mostly the location. But in nowadays, even the America can just send his blooming planes, blooming planes, and they can boom there. Other countries, even Iran, Iraq, even America cannot just fight with the directly. They can send their planes. It's so easy for them. So the fights are not being in a location anymore, and the location and time being unimportant. That's the reason why we need to just highlight it and we need to understand it. Okay? So the other things, the work culture and social structure. Japan's corporate culture plays an important role in shaping demographic behavior. Japan's companies traditionally expect extremely long working hours and strong dedication to the workplace. The Japanese word karoshi literally means death from overwork. According to OECD report statistics, Japanese workers often work significantly longer hours than workers in many Western countries, like the Japan hours 1,600 hours, USA 1,800 hours, Germany 1,350 hours. The Germany is better, brother. If you are working in Japan, the working hours so high. Even is so high than USA. Mostly people in the USA working so high, so it is not very good for them. Okay, the working statistic is so different. Japan's corporate culture plays an important role in shaping demographic behavior. Like even the concept of a zangyo, it's meaning just death by working, death overworking. Okay, you are just getting die by just working a lot. So in the Japan, working culture is very normal, and working from morning to night, it's being understood as a normal. So there is not abnormal here, and the thing is very normal. If you die, if you just get a sleep while you are working, nobody's going to against with you. And as a culture, every time, every moment, they understood and they get used to this kind of differences. If you're asking my opinion, if I have a chance, I will also want to go to Japan. It's so normal for me. So the other things like the working hours so high. That's the reason why, because of the working hours are so high, the foreign workers are just cannot adapt to situation. Because working a long time, it doesn't mean that working utilizes time. Just you can just work long hours, but it doesn't give you a guarantee you can just work effectively. It doesn't. Long hours of working doesn't mean long hours of efficiency. Long hours of the utilizing. It doesn't mean efficiency. That's the reason why you need to understand it. Long hours can be understandable, but it doesn't give you anything sometimes. Okay? Even in Mexico, people working from morning to night, but Germany, people working less, but they are so successful. What? Work smart, not long. Work smart is better. Okay? The economic consequences or population decline has significant economic consequences. One of the most serious problems in labor shortage, Japan's working age population is shrinking rapidly. The stable working age population 1,995, 87 million working age population. 2020, 75 million. 2050, 52 million. Okay, like the working age is so different. Like even the working age population is also degrading. Why? The labor shortage. The another thing, no, in the Japan there are some people wants to work in the construction, but it's real not. Mostly there is a concept of hikikomori. They are living at their parents' houses. Even me, I'm living in my parents' house. I'm not going to judge them. But here the problem is mostly when they are working there, they don't want to do the hardest jobs like work in a blue collar jobs, work in a construction, work in a cafe. They are preferring to stay at their family's house and they are playing the games, they are watching the anime, and they are living like that. Is it good? I'm not going to just judge the situation. Just working in a construction is not very smartest job I have ever seen. If you are asking my opinion, I will probably just staying at my house, just trying to just work and analyze my own situation rather than just working for someone else. Why I'm working for someone else? Whether I will get something, maybe the retirement salary. But it also doesn't guarantee you will get a retirement salary. That's the reason why you need to just keep it in your mind. So nobody is going to complain or nobody is going to judge us, okay? The labor shortage is okay until the workforce is declaring and everybody is understanding. Mostly in USA base are just being in the Japan, also in Turkey, there are a bunch of USA based, and in Japan, the protection of the Japan is getting by the America. But also, Japanese people need to sell something to other countries. What are they selling? They are selling their young women. Okay, the young women from the Aomori and other small cities, they are just it's like save up the money and they are going to Tokyo in order to change something. Or are they being successful in it? Not. But they are trying their chances. Yeah, they are trying on it and they are trying to steal on it. Sometimes they are just complaining about it, but it's so different, okay? So if you're asking my opinion, as I mentioned that before, what they can sell, what they can product, mostly they are just producing the culture and the courses. They are selling you need to learn the Japanese culture, and mostly the influencers are coming based in Japan, and they are just influencing the other people, and mostly they are getting watched because they are in the first class nations. If you are living in a first class country, you can get more views if you are comparing the third or the second class nations. That's the reason why racism is everywhere, brother. If I have born in Turkey, it's still hard to get more views in my Instagram account or the YouTube channel because I have born in Turkey. Even this video not going to spread around to Japan, and I don't be famous, and I don't get any job invitation to Japan. I won't just move up to Japan. I cannot be influencer in Japan. It's really hard. I wish I would do that, but life didn't just smile me. Life didn't smile me today. Life didn't smile me yesterday. And life won't smile me in the future, tomorrow. And life won't smile me tomorrow. It's a really important idea for my life. Life didn't smile me today. And life didn't smile me yesterday. And life will not smile me tomorrow. It's my life. It is my word. It's my sentence. Keep it in your mind. Okay, is there anything, as I mentioned that before, it's so important, bro, like, we need to say it, like, everybody do the things with the consequences. Do the things which you wanna get to enjoy. Do you like my short sentences? Okay, it's good. So, rural population decline, especially visible in rural areas. Young people tend to migrate to large cities such as Tokyo and Osaka. And as a result, rural towns are experiencing the severe demographic collapse, and they are the ghost rural areas. Many Japanese villages are now described as Genkai Shuraku, meaning villages on the edge of extinction. In these communities, more than half of the residents may be over the age of 65. Schools close, businesses disappear, and local economies decline. Exactly. Most of the people wants to go to the Japan or in Tokyo or Osaka. They want to just change, because if you just think at these rural areas, for example, you are just for example, I'm living in a very small city which is Balıkesir. I'm not going to Istanbul or Izmir or Ankara, which is the big cities. It's so hard for me just doing something different because I'm just here. The network is so low, and just reaching a lot of the metro and the most of the resources is so high. Getting the resources are so high, so that's the reason why it's so hard to get enough resources. That's the reason why most people wants to go to the big cities. Okay, but if you go to the big cities, you need to understand everybody thinking same with you. Before you're going to move up this new city, mostly they were another rural area people going to big cities like the Tokyo, Osaka. Every time they have just collect enough money in order to go to Tokyo and Osaka. They have went there, but it doesn't make a guarantee they successful there, and they couldn't make something different there. I have always wanted to go to Japan, but the money is being a key factor here, just the permission, etc. It's so different. So people are just only thinking about the rural towns. Would you want to live in the rural towns or going to big cities? If you're asking my opinion, it's better to live in the big cities because the resources are more high. And in the rural areas, you are living with the elderly people. There are a bunch of the elderly village, but some elderly villages are only special for the rich elderly people. So the Genkai Shuraku is really important here. For example, here I was just reading the book of Haruki Murakami. There, he is also just mentioning about a lot for it, but it is so different here. Like the population is decreasing, and many rural towns a severe demographic collapse. So there's the resources are so low there, and most people live in the big cities. Even I was in Taiwan, I was studying in the Taichung, which is like something like a, I can't say it like which kind of city. Like the Taiwan was a very small country. I have been in Taiwan, but according to my opinion, Taiwan cannot be a country. It is so like, how can I say? It's so just like a, so like the so teeny country. That's the reason why when you go to the Taiwan, it is not a very resources are so enough. It is better to go to China or Japan. I made a mistake in order to go into Taiwan, because even you can go to Taiwan, even you go to the small cities, you cannot get a more chance. The chance is really low. Going to Japan, going to Osaka, going to Tokyo, your chance is more. Because in the small areas, like I was in the Taiwan and the Yajo like the Asia University, there were a bunch of the small businesses, the small coffee shops, the small like the selling the street food sellers. But mostly, you cannot just cover your all expenses when you go there. Even in your rural areas, the chance for the foreigner is so low, because there aren't much foreigners. If there aren't much foreigners, the local people will not going to speak with you. If you are a foreigner, you need to just find somewhere else where the foreigners are so a lot. For example, there are a bunch of the foreigners from Japan are coming to Istanbul. Why? Why they are coming to Istanbul? Because it's the metropolitan cities. If you cannot go to the metropolitan cities, if you live in the rural areas, you can make a social network. If you cannot make a social network, it's really hard for you just grow and getting famous. It's so hard. You need to make a social network. You need to get into the community. You cannot find a community in the rural areas. It's so small. Like the immigration debate. Like as I mentioned that we are going to talk about the immigration debate. Like also this goes close businesses disappear and local economics decline. Okay, Ellen and Trukai. People mostly just opening the governments opening the universities to every city. Why? Because the local businesses, okay, if you just open a university in Balıkesir, in Bandırma, even in the small cities, they are opening a university. Why? Because the all the small businesses need to continue. There are some youngest the students are coming and they are just getting the food, but in the small cities, and the government allows them. It's to understand every time the money is being important. The local business, even the taxi drivers can gain. The the supermarkets can gain by the students. Okay, all the time the other America, how they are making money? They are making many money by the rich second or the third or the sometimes first class country students. If you are being a foreigner student, if you mean that you are money, because if you are a foreigner student, if you can go to another country, you are just paying money, and it is really hard for you to work, and that's the reason why you are just paying money to country. Mostly they are getting more money by this foreigner works. Even the local countries, if you are living in Turkey, if you are living in the big city Izmir, you are coming to small cities to studying at university, and you are just expecting something good in your life, and probably you are wasting of your time. Mostly they are prank. Even in Japan is same. And just they are just going to the sign of things and small business. Let's come back to Taiwan. I was in Taiwan. There are a bunch of small businesses. It doesn't work. Mostly people living in Taiwan wants to go to Japan and wants to change their lives. Is it good? Yeah, it's okay. It's understandable. If I ask in my opinion, I always want to do that, but it's so high. Yeah, if I have a chance, I would like to go to Japan and getting married a woman in Japan and make a children. It was my dream, but I'm living in a third class country. It's really hard for me to compete with the first or second class nations. So the situation is like that, brother. Like it's so high, but I get used to it. So immigration debate. One potential solution to Japan's demographic crisis is immigration. However, Japan has historically maintains very strict immigration policies. Even in the Sakoku Jidai, there were only one nation were allowing to was there were only one nation. There was only one nation which was allowing to get into the Japan. It was islands. That's the reason why most island people can speak Japanese fast. Why? Because they were get allowed to get into the Japan because only these people didn't just spread their missionary religion. Okay, this Portugal, the Spain, I'm not sure, maybe Spain or Portugal, they are coming to Japan and they were spreading the Christianity. That's the reason why it was so missionary facilities is getting mad in Japan. Missionarism, but they like the missionary position. I'm so sad, brother. Like for this joke. Do you like my jokes? Yeah, good luck, brother. So the other things like foreign population share, immigration debate we just talked about yesterday. Japan immigration debate. Immigration share to that 5%. Germany 50%. Fuck. Canada 23% immigration share. Okay, the immigration is not very this is allowed in Japan. It's really hard to get immigrate to Japan, but if you are immigrating Canada, welcome. Canada is a very welcome country for the immigrants, and they can immigrate there and they can understand. But my age is really aging, and nobody just helped me to go to the immigrate to other country. That was so sad for me. Because every time I need to record a YouTube video in order to be famous on the internet, in order to go to another country freely. But if you're asking my opinion, this country didn't offer me anything. If I have a chance, probably I will also go to the Canada or even the first or the second class nations. But not a nation just allowed me to go another country. That's the reason why I'm so complaining. I also want to go to Japan or Canada. If you're asking my opinion, Japan or Canada. But I couldn't immigrate there. Mostly the economical. I'm living in a very shitty house, very shitty parents. They won't just give me money. That's the reason why I need to earn my own money on my own. That's the reason why I'm recording YouTube videos here. The best thing I can do is recording a YouTube video. The foreign workers in Japan. Maybe we talked about yesterday, but just going to foreign workers. But before of the foreign workers, immigration debate. Yeah, immigration is really hard to immigrate to Japan. Mostly they are very racist and they don't like the immigrants. There also have a just some like a word, the gaijin and gaikokujin. If you are calling you a gaijin, they think you are out of, you are not from us. It's some like a discrimination. If they are saying you gaikokujin, it means you are the foreigner. The second one is better. If they are calling you first one, it means they don't want you. The Japan, even once upon a time, Yui Hatono, maybe there bunch of the Japanese EB Sangyo porn stars are just explained by the society, just Hatonoi, Kanamamonogi, Ayuhara, Anusuki, and Hatonoi just living in the Taiwan in the easy card. Hatonoi's picture were just publishing in the easy cards in Taiwan for the transportation. It was so I like, but yeah, even the under Suzuki, just there were some Chinese Hong Kong media just spreading a news, and under Suzuki was just studying history, the Chinese history in the university, and she was selling his body to Chinese students and the Chinese people. Why? Because she was so sad the situation of the Nanking massacre, the Japan and the China history. That's the reason why she was so angry for the situation, and she was just helping the Chinese students. And the Anna Suzuki just opened an X and she denied it didn't happen. It is so understandable, right? Yeah, right. I have a headache. I'm sorry, I have a toothache. Oh, my tooth is so itching. I'm sorry. So let's continue. What we're going to say, like foreign workers in Japan. As I mentioned, they don't like the immigrants. They like that. The foreign workers in Japan. Despite strict immigration policies, Japan has gradually increased the number of foreign workers. The 2010 2.1 million foreign population. 2020 2.9 million foreign population. 2023 3.2 million foreign population. The Immigration Services Agency of Japan, the Vietnam, China, Philippines, Indonesia, many foreigners. Mostly the Vietnamese people working in the local businesses, and also they are working as a nurse mostly the Vietnamese people working as a nurse in Japan. Mostly Chinese people working in a tourism shops and the tourism industries. Filipinos work in the construction. Indonesian people working as a caregiver mostly, like the elderly caregiver, the student caregiver. All the Filipinos also working as a nurse, but mostly the Vietnamese people working as a nurse. Maybe need to get the data here, and mostly we can just understand the situation and try to understand. And in Japan, what kind of business generally they do? I just wonder, like the in Japan, country Vietnam factories. In Vietnamese people in Japan work in the factories, construction, agriculture, food processing, convenience store stuff. Yeah, many Vietnamese come for tough the technical intern training program or specified skilled worker visa. They work in labor shortage sectors such as manufacturing, farming, and food processing. Sometimes they are working as a they are just getting pursued as a cheap labor. It's so hard, but yeah. Mostly, if I'm from a third class country, which is Turkey, I'm also just calling as a cheap labor. What we can do? China, restaurants, trading, companies, import, export business, real estate, tourism, and service. Tourism is very important for them because there are a bunch of the hotels in Japan, which belongs to China. Chinese immigrants often open Chinese restaurants. Yeah, they are mostly open Chinese restaurants, run import, export businesses, or work in IT and trade sectors. Some also operate Chinese supermarkets. Philippines, caregiving, elderly care, nursing, hospitality, entertainment industry, English teaching. Yeah, English teaching. English teaching. I can also teach the English. Many Filipinos work in elderly care, kaigo. Because Japan has agreements with the Philippines for the healthcare workers, some also work in the bars, hotels, and English-related jobs. For example, they are working in the Kabukicho, Shinjuku, Pattaya. Filipinos and Thailand girls, mostly they are going to Kabukicho and Roppongi. They are just they are standing on the streets and they are just getting the more customers for the sex tourism. Yeah, and mostly the Filipinos caregiver. Vietnam is like the caregiver, but Thai people and the Vietnam Philippines sometimes working in a escort and the prostitution. Yeah, they are working as sometimes escort like that and prostitution. It's bad. Indonesia, caregiving, kaigo, fishers, agriculture, halal food businesses. Yeah, halal food. Indonesia. Indonesian workers are also required for elderly care and fishing industries. Some open halal restaurants or Indonesian grocery stores. Yeah, mostly if you are Turkish and you are opening a Turkish kebab store. If you are Indonesian, you are opening an Indonesian restaurants, and most of the Chinese people opening Chinese restaurants. Yeah, they are thinking like they are just selling the culture. Mostly they don't have anything to sell, and they are saying that we have the Chinese restaurants. It's so unique. Come. You don't have the money, motherfucker. You are coming to Japan. What you can do? You are just selling your own Chinese culture and the Chinese restaurants. There are a bunch of Japanese restaurants there. Oh, but it's all is unique. It's all is solid. 個性的、美人らしい. Is it so really shit? Understand? But you don't have anything to sell. Got it? Got you. I'm not just defending. I'm not just criticizing the Chinese people, but here is so same. Even the Turkey, the situation is so different, brother, but it's so understandable. Yeah, it's so good. Like the Japan have labor shortage, especially in caregiving, elderly care, cargo, construction, agriculture, food processing, hospitality, and hotels, factories. Technical intern training program, specified skilled worker visa, Tokyo, Shin, Okubo, Gunma, Saitama, Nagoya, Aichi, Tokyo, Osaka. Okay, Tokyo, Shin, Okubo, many Chinese restaurants and stores. Gunma, Saitama, many Vietnamese factory workers. Nagoya, Aichi, foreign factory workers. And mostly in the Aichi, mostly the foreign workers and in the construction. They are working in Aichi. It's so important. Tokyo and Osaka, Filipino and Indonesian restaurants and churches. Yeah, if you are living in Tokyo and Osaka, restaurants are so important because mostly Tokyo and Osaka for the luxury class people there. So the foreign workers, as I mentioned, and the other thing, technology and automation. Japan is also attempting to solve the labor shortage through technology. Yeah, mostly there are a bunch of the elderly people. What we can do for them, just not doing the baby because they don't want to make the babies. Mostly they are just preferring to hiring the robots. If the even the 2,200 years or the 30, for example, 20 years later or the 30 years later, mostly the workers in Japan will be the robots. And robots will replace the human power in Japan after the 20 or 40 years later. Yeah, 40 or 30 years later, it's going to be understand. After 20 or 30 years later, most of the robots will going to replace the human power. Yeah, mostly they are going to hire the robots. It's go understandable technology will going to replace it. Robotics and automation are widely used in Japan industries. Robots are increasingly used in healthcare, elderly care, manufacturing, agriculture. Yeah, Japan hopes that technological innovation can partially compensate for its shrinking workforce. Yeah, healthcare is understandable because the robots are also using in the supermarkets, even the hotels. You don't have any receptionist in the hotel. Okay, you can just come out and check out. The robots are just controlling and checking everything. You just even don't have to just get a K because you have the numbers. You can just come into the hotel with the numbers. What's the meaning K? K meaning the password. And if the K is we are understanding, it sounds like a real K, like it is the K, right? But password is also another K. Okay? You don't have to this K. This password is okay because if you are opening your door with the password, it's so better. Why? Because it is the K. Even the Bitcoin and other crypto passwords, they are using the bunch of different keys and the footprint and like the fingerprint. It's the key. It's the key. It's a key factory. K. It's the K, right? It's a key. It's the key. It's okay. It's okay. Good. Like Japan hopes that technological innovation can partially compensate for its shrinking workforce. Okay, the future of Japan. The future of Japan's population depends on several factors. The three possible scenarios are often discussed by demographers. Okay, the first case scenario. Japan continues to decline and becomes a smaller but technologically advanced society. The second case scenario. Japan gradually increases immigration and becomes more multicultural. Okay, the scenario three, the third case scenario. Japan successfully reforms its social institutions and increases birth rates. Most experts believe the future will involve a combination of these scenarios. Japan is effectively becoming a laboratory for understanding the demographic future of advanced societies. Well, if you're asking my opinion, as I mentioned that before, like according to my opinion, the second case scenario, just getting more immigration, is not very logical here, and they are not they don't have intensity to get more immigrants. But the scenario one is more understandable because, according to me, Japan continues to decline as a population, and then they will develop technologically advanced society. Maybe the population is declaring, but the technology will going to grow. Most of the people in Japan hiring the AI or the UX designers, AI engineers, and that's the reason why the blue collar jobs, white collar jobs, office jobs are getting replaced by the AI. I have seen a video on the YouTube. There was a girl just getting fired about the translation jobs. Okay, most of the people think that you know the language. Okay, but it doesn't mean that even the AI knows the language. That's the reason why you don't have any translator. The translator jobs will going to be exit, and they are not going to be exit anymore. That why? Because the AI will going to replace all the translation jobs. And like the just going to give me a second. Like the most of the disappear, vanish. Okay, most of the translation jobs will going to be disappear by the AI because the AI can also translation jobs, and they are going to be just unimportant and they are going to get fired. That's so understandable. Everybody needs to create their own businesses in the end in order to not getting fired potential. But people have tendency to get fired. Nobody can going to judge the situation. As I mentioned that before, like if you wanna be unique, you need to create your own businesses. Because all the translation jobs or some supermarket jobs, maybe even the engineers, maybe even the programmers, all this kind of businesses, healthcare, tourism, maybe the the tourism only itself, maybe grocery stores, all the jobs will going to get replaced by the AI, even the YouTubers. So it is really hard for me, as much as the YouTube can defend itself, as much as the YouTube defend itself, it is better to keep control by the human workforce. But sometimes the AI replace will the other jobs. Maybe it will create the another jobs as well. So we are going to analyze till that day. Thank you for watching until now. See you on next video. Please give a like, comment, and share, and subscription to this video and to my channel to me. Thank you so much in order to me to go to Japan. Thank you so much. See you on next video.